Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the Overflow. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as the Hatman.
And for those of you who do not know, the Overflow is the show where every week we take a little bit of time to go ahead and answer the questions from the podcast that sadly we were not able to get to. So let's go ahead and get right down to it. Hatman, where should we start? Politics or entertainment?
I say let's take down that entertainment molehill.
All right. Well, the first question is exclusively for you.
Oh, it is? Cool.
Who will you main in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and why?
Ooh, tough question because I don't know how, different the new Echo Fighters will be, or Ridley for that matter, or Simon Belmont at all. I will do my best to maintain the mains that I have for Roy and Mewtwo. I've kept those, well, I can't say I kept those since Melee because Roy and Mewtwo weren't in Brawl, much to my disappointment. But those are the two that I've had around for the longest. Samus, I hear Samus got nerfed pretty badly. So I'm kind of disappointed by that, but at the very least, I'll keep Roy and Mewtwo.
Fair enough. Okay, and Autis Whisper wants to know, what game from the past would you like to see remade?
Metal Gear 1.
Already been remade. Oh, Metal Gear. I thought Solid.
No. Metal Gear 1. I mean, you could argue that Metal Gear 2 was technically remade in Metal Gear Solid, but no, Metal Gear 1 for sure, especially since Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. That'd probably be my pick too. Let's see here. Black Knight Rex wants to know, what is your favorite class to play in Diablo, and why is Micah's the Crusader?
I do not play Diablo.
So he got me on that one.
Well, congratulations. You've answered your own question.
Yeah, and it's because the Crusader's the best tank in the game, basically. Let's see here. Matchstick7886 wants to know, what's our favorite versions of God, Jesus, and the Devil in fiction? So, my favorite version of Jesus is Aslan.
Yes.
And that would technically be God by extension. When it comes to Satan, I'd have to go with the Tim Curry interpretation in Legend. Either that or Al Pacino.
Let's see. Satan, I would have to go with his depiction in Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny. Just because it's fucking hilarious. And I've always kind of liked Morgan Freeman's portrayal of God in Bruce Almighty.
Oh, that's a good choice.
So I guess I'll go with that one. Aslan is as Jesus though, for sure. So yes. Voiced by Liam Neeson, I'll take that too.
Oh yeah. Okay, Shenanigans wanted to know, thoughts on Sony having a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man in light of Venom. Well, I think we've answered this one before. My opinion on, our opinion on the Venom movie is pretty well established at this point. We were both big fans of it. I would have to say that it's inevitable that at some point Marvel is going to make an offer for the distribution rights. And I still genuinely think that originally Venom existed just to try to drive the price up.
There's the rumor going around that because Tom Holland is contracted to do Spider-Man movies under Sony's banner, not Marvel's, that they could take him into his, I think, last contracted movie, because he's got Infinity War Part 2, Spider-Man Far From Home, and then he's got one more in his contract before he can sign a new one or renegotiate or whatever.
Yeah.
So they've been saying that last one they could do in the Sony Spider-Man universe as opposed to the MCU, which will take advantage of people being confused because, hey, that's the MCU Spider-Man, so this must be canon to the MCU and stuff, which will make them want to see it more. Especially after how confused, and I heard this from people too, the confusion over whether or not Venom was canon in the MCU. And one person walking out of the theater said, well, they had Stan Lee in it, so it's got to be canon.
Yeah, I am just very much of the opinion that more than likely that there will be a point where he is part of the MCU, most likely. It really just is going to be one of two things. Either Marvel makes an offer to buy the distribution rights, or like Hatman said, the Sony renegotiates Tom Holland's contract, and then things change there.
Yeah. In any case, I would not want an exclusive Spider-Man cinematic universe. I would much rather it be part of the MCU. I think the Spider-Man character is stronger that way.
Well, yeah. I just thought that it was, it was it was an interesting idea to do what they're doing, but I don't think that any other character aside from Venom would really be a success.
Yeah,
like a Silver Sable movie.
Yeah,
a Black Cat movie.
I don't see it. I really, really do not see it.
Yeah, Sable is very, very, very reliant on other characters to even be remotely interesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Black Cat without Peter Parker is just stupid.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Just like Catwoman without Batman doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if Sony does want to do some sort of Spider-Man cinematic universe, I say stick with the animated one, like they're doing with Into the Spider-Verse.
Ugh.
It's a solution.
That movie looks like shit.
Really? I think it looks pretty good.
It is very poorly animated. It has like a 20 frame per second frame rate. It's very hard on the eyes.
I like it, actually.
and the dialogue is trash.
Yeah, the dialogue's trash from the trailers, but I like the animation style, actually.
Well, the art style is not bad. It's how well it's animated. The animation is just jank. Not to mention the director said he doesn't want conservatives watching his movies. So
yeah, that's the one thing that's going to keep me from actually watching it in theaters.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
All right. So let's see here. Aeon Arcana wants to know: has Watchmen been a net negative to the superhero genre? That's an interesting question.
Yeah. I don't know if I could call it really a net negative. I think it's the fanaticism over Watchmen, and really just Alan Moore's work in general has been more of a detriment than anything else. Because that's really what's led to all this deconstruction in modern superhero comics.
Yeah, that would be sort of what I would think is it's more so the chasing of Watchmen than Watchmen itself.
Yeah.
Because it seems to me like everybody wants to make Watchmen. And thus everybody's constantly trying... Well, they're either trying to make Watchmen or they're trying to make fucking YA comics. Which is why so many of them are trash. And by the way, fuck Joe Quesada.
Again?
Yes.
What did he do this time?
Well, first off, fuck him.
Fuck him.
Greatest button.
God, I love that button.
Yeah.
I love that new button.
So, but fuck Joe Quesada for getting on the Twitter to own the cons and saying, oh, I guess I didn't destroy the comic book industry. Motherfucker, first off, of the 5 top-selling comics of last month, 2 of them are oriented on an event. The other 2 are DC. One of them is a reissue of the first issue of Walking Dead. By the way, the DC ones were events too, and events in Batman. So you're getting outsold by Tom King, who seems to be checking out, by the way. And on top of that, you want to know what the number 6 comic was last month, Hatman?
Was it Venom?
It was Venom. Here I'm pissed off, and here's why. Not word fucking one congratulating Donny Cates for having the best-selling solo series comic that month.
So you're telling me Venom outsold Spider-Man?
First time since the 90s.
Jesus.
First time since the 90s an issue of Venom outsold The Amazing Spider-Man. That is a giant fucking accomplishment. Giant accomplishment. Not word fucking one of congratulations from Joe Quesada, the head of creative at Marvel, to Donny Cates. Fuck you, Quesada. Seriously. The same shit happened to the last guy who wrote Venom 2. He never got recognition despite outselling other people constantly with this character. Venom is as popular now, almost as popular now as he was in the 90s, and that's saying something.
Quesada a fuck.
Dude, Venom, the film, did better than Wonder Woman. Think about that for a second. This character, created in the 90s, my favorite fictional character of all time, outdid Wonder Woman at the theaters, which was supposed to be amazing because whammin', even though it is admittedly a really good movie, and is outdoing Spider-Man in sales last month. Fucking hellfire! He's a success again, and nobody at Marvel seems to give a shit. Right? I feel terrible for Ryan Stegman and Donny Cates. Terrible for them. They should be getting everything that Marvel can throw at them right now. Everything. Because they're doing an awesome job. It is a great book. It really is. Month to month is probably my favorite book to read. The one book I'm always looking forward to every month has been Venom for the last 2 years. Fuck Joe Quesada.
Fuck him.
Fuck him!
Fuck him.
Criminy. Alright. That was a tangent. So, Magical Robot Prisma wants to know what we think of My Hero Academia.
I haven't seen it. I haven't read it.
I have no fucking clue about anything. All I know is All Might is a thing. And somebody asked me if the power set for Alpha in Project Lazarus is based on All Might. I'm like, no, I don't know what an All Might is. And I looked up All Might's powers, and I'm like, if anything, All Might is reminiscent of the Hulk in a sense, in a weird sense. Or Gladiator. The Shi'ar Gladiator, not the Daredevil villain.
Tim Lim has fucked up My Hero Academia for me because I cannot see All Might without thinking of Donald Trump.
Yeah, pretty much. There's that too. So, okay, Hardboiled Entertainment wants to know, so we know your feelings about catgirls and ponies, so how about Disney princesses? I'm not a girl. Last I checked. Actually, yep, they're still there. Okay, so definitely not a girl. So I never really had much of an interest. You know, I don't really have an opinion. I don't care. That's really all I can say. I think it's a good thing for girls to have princesses to look up to. You know, because I am evil and reinforce the patriarchy. So there's that. I don't know. Hatman, what do you got?
I love me some goddamn Disney movies, and that includes princess movies. I will fight a motherfucker over this.
Frozen was trash, though.
I don't think Frozen was trash, but I think it is very, very overrated. Tangled was so much better. Also, The Princess and the Frog is sincerely underrated.
Keith fucking David.
Keith fucking David,
folks,
as Dr. Facilier.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Folks, if you thought Keith David was a talented actor, if you thought Keith David was a talented voice actor too, you have not heard the man sing yet.
Seriously.
Just listen to I've Got Friends on the Other Side. That's
Seriously.
all you have to listen to.
That is up there with the other Disney villain songs. You will see
why he does Nat King Cole covers as a hobby. He is a very good singer.
Yes.
Okay, Crystal Wing 2149 wants to know, do we think that since Marvel and DC refuse to stop with the political bullshit, someone's going to have to force them to stop? So this is what we called when we did the part of the podcast a few weeks back when Ethan left Comicsgate and then came back to Comicsgate because I knew he would. But where we said that there was a pipe dream in Phase 1 of Comicsgate. And that pipe dream was that Marvel and DC are going to intervene, or rather, Warner Brothers and Disney are going to intervene because of sales reducing. I don't see it ever happening.
No.
Here's the reason why. I think that this is why I always tell people you need to make them feel economic repercussions for their actions. And one of those repercussions, obviously is that certain books fell in sales because of whatever choice it was. Nick Spencer's Captain America did not sell well for a Captain America title. All New Wolverine did not sell well. And basically, I just, my thought is, you like it, you don't like it, don't buy it. But the idea that they're going to just, that Marvel is going, or Disney is going to come in and say, stop with the political bullshit, is not going to happen unless they're close to bankruptcy. Marvel Comics is. And they're not there. Because Spider-Man continues to sell. They're still able to make money off of collectors in whales. And it's enough to keep them afloat. And they're, now they're dangerously close to breaking that market. Because you hear it from a lot of people, they're fed up about the constant events and so on and so forth, and they don't want to read them all the time. They would rather just read something, stable, which is why I think Venom is so popular. But they're not, Marvel and DC aren't giving them that. They want to have an event every year. They want to have, and as long as Batman and Spider-Man are selling for the respective companies, then they really don't care that much. They're not going to intervene. That's why it's such a pipe dream. And, I have no reason to think that I'm wrong on this. I know that there are people who disagree with me, but I have yet to see proof that I'm wrong. And I told Engeltine and Unranked Chevron, they had a debate with Ethan and John Malin, and I kind of felt like they were at a detente at the end, and I said if they ever want to continue that discussion and Ethan and John won't, I would be willing to host it on my channel to discuss it with them. But I have seen no evidence to think that guys such as myself and Hatman and Ethan and John and others are... I've got no reason to think we're wrong in that we have to become a force in the market. I said it on Twitter not too long ago. It's like, if the market refuses to listen to the customer must become a force in that market, one way or another. Through boycotts, through mass action, or through starting your own business. And, starting your own business is working. And will continue to work. These brands are just starting. And as they grow in popularity and they continue to attract good writers, there's a lot of, money-making potential there. So, So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. The idea that they're gonna come in and work some sort of Christmas miracle is not gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, it's simply out of the question. It's like I said in that podcast episode. The boycotts were not effective, so there's no other decision but to put your own stuff out there, create your own alternative, because they're not going to listen. And we just said fuck Joe Quesada.
Yep,
he clearly does not give a shit. There's no you can't reason with them. You're not going to be able to reason with them. So there's no point in hoping.
Okay, let's see what else we got here. Koopa's Revenge says, thoughts on Vinland Saga being adapted to anime. Also, Micah, read Vinland Saga. Oh,
I have no idea what that is.
Turn down your radio a little bit. I'm echoing.
All right.
So with Vinland Saga, it looks interesting, but thoughts on it being adapted to anime. I imagine it's gonna get the same response that Goblin Slayer did, in the fact that it's intense and it's violent. It's about Vikings, something patriarchy, something else. It'll be the usual bullshit think pieces.
I don't know anything about it aside from what you just told me. So,
CT117 wants to know: has Medicare fallen to the dark side? Joined the alt-right? Don't know, don't care.
Like I said, it's only a matter of time before he and Ralph go at each other's throats. I don't know what the fuck he believes.
I don't think he believes anything.
Honestly do. I really don't. I think he just sort of plays to his audience at the time.
Yeah.
Just chaotic neutral.
Pretty much. Okay, Brian Gilmartin says, what are your thoughts on Gavin McGinnis's opinions about geek culture, e.g. video games, comics, female leads, etc.? I think he's an ignorant, dumbass boomer who's full of hot air. When it comes to geek culture, I would completely agree with that statement. I think Gavin is full of hot air, and I think that
what has he said about it?
That it's for children and blah blah blah, the usual old man shit.
Yeah.
And he says like, "Oh, you're not a real man if you do that." I'll tell you what, Gavin, you, me, 12 rounds, $500 says this nerd would beat the shit out of you in a boxing ring. Do not insult. Nerds in this day and age are not the same as nerds 20 years ago. Now half of them are enrolled in martial arts. You fucking idiot.
It's almost trendy to be a nerd these days, or a geek, or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Exactly. It's not, it's not...
You're not a social outcast anymore.
No, exactly. Half of everybody plays some sort of video game.
Yeah.
Or something, or watches some sort of science fiction on television, or something along those lines. Like, it's not...
Star Wars is huge. Marvel, at least the MCU is huge. I mean, superheroes in general are bigger than ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand why it's not. You can't even like be in the closet about liking like anime and manga and shit anymore.
Yeah,
like that's all socially acceptable now.
And given how have seen some of the Proud Boys punch, I'm sorry, you're not convincing me that half those guys watch anime and jerk off on a regular basis. I'm sorry.
Gavin McInnes and Bill Maher.
He kind of can be a right-wing Bill Maher on occasion.
Jesus Christ.
Like, I get it, and I agree with him on some things, but when it comes to nerd culture, I'm sorry, dude. Like, shut up. If I ever met him and he said that, I would just say, "Shut up, dude! Like, really? Like, you're not fooling anyone. You and your fucking hipster mustache and all that. Again, grab the gloves. We'll go a few rounds, and then call me a nerd afterwards. I dare you."
What do you call Gavin McInnes? A dumbass boomer that's full of hot air?
Yeah. When it comes to that, he really is. He really is. But yeah, no, I would spar a few rounds with Gavin, and then he would probably change his tune pretty quickly about if nerds can be manly or not. Okay, I'm Your Pepper said EVS, Ethan Van Sciver posted a video saying George Lucas is working on the Obi-Wan movie. Your thoughts? I hope that he's writing the script and nothing else.
I hope if he actually is working on it, I hope he is working with a team of people on it, and he's not just allowed to run free, which includes an editor.
Yes!
I swear to God, Gary Kurtz and Marcia Lucas are the only reasons why we have Star Wars today.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, so on to politics. Leonardo Juan wanted to know, when will the left politicize porn? Well,
after they've shifted back around from the whole porn is misogynistic thing.
Well, actually, there is a weird divide among leftists these days when it comes to pornography. And it's mostly, it's obviously along the feminist lines. Mm-hmm. You have people like a Lacey Green who try to argue that pornography is somehow healthy for you based on nothing. And then there are those who would say that it's exploitation, it's generally bad for women, and it's bad for relationships and so on and so forth. And
rape culture.
Rape culture. I wouldn't agree with the rape culture thing, but I do think it's exploitative. In a sense. But then again, that's a whole nother can of worms. But it hasn't really been overly politicized, just debated amongst those circles. But what I found hilarious was that there was a feminist celebration on the Daily Beast, heaping praise on the porn industry for having a record number of female directors nominated for awards. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like,
oh my God.
I'm like, so exploiting women is now respect of women. What the fuck?
Oh, we're forgetting Stormy Daniels.
There's that too.
Stormy Daniels has basically become a cultural celebrity of sorts.
Amongst the left.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, like Michael Avenatti too, but I doubt 20 years ago that would have ever been able to become a thing.
Yeah, no one would have even tried.
No.
The only one that I can think of that really kind of got into the mainstream was because of Howard Stern, and that was Jenna Jameson.
Yeah.
And it was also, it was because of the Howard Stern show, and it was also because of the fact that she was dating Tito Ortiz for a while, the mixed martial artist.
Well, Anna Nicole Smith, too, to a degree.
She wasn't really a porn star, though. She was a Playboy playmate.
Model. Yeah.
Yeah, and Playboy playmates have always been in the mainstream. So if you consider, that is considered pornography, so I guess that does count. But,
Hugh Hefner made all that shit famous again. Didn't they have like a show about him and his girlfriends or whatever?
Yeah. It's like, gee, the pornographer's a creepy piece of shit. Whoever knew? Dumbasses. Okay. So, Crystal Wing wants to know, what is the status of the migrant caravan? Well,
boy.
Well, that depends. Do you like pepper on your migrants?
I mean, that's probably something we'll end up talking about this weekend. Because they tried to storm a checkpoint in somewhere in California.
Yeah.
And they were met with tear gas and lots and lots of pepper.
Yep, and a lot of people are pretty pissed off when it comes to what happened.
Yeah.
In both directions, but to the point where Chuck Schumer said that there might be a negotiation on wall funding.
Yep.
Now, whether or not that gets past the House, is up in the air.
Well, considering that there's all kinds of people that are pissed off and saying Chuck Schumer needs to step down from his Senate leadership position.
Yeah, that shit ain't
because
happening.
of this. Yeah, I guess it's, just like in January where they, DACA should not be on the negotiating table. You should not trade the wall for DACA and that kind of stuff, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that an MSNBC correspondent also made the correction that the majority of people in the caravan were adult men who were just looking to cross the border and were not looking for asylum or anything.
Yeah.
I love it.
The whole situation's a giant fucking mess.
Yeah.
We need to build the wall.
It's been exploited by too many fucking people with bad agendas. Yes, build the wall, let us buy the bricks.
Indeed. Okay, Koopa's Revenge Home says, did the left seriously make an entire musical just to have lesbians at the Macy's Day Parade? That might have red-pilled a bunch of friends of mine. Wouldn't surprise me.
A musical for it?
Or something like that. Some people...
What was the music?
Well, here's...
I saw the thing about the kiss, but I don't...
Yeah, I don't know all the details personally either. But, I mean, let's be honest about something. And I think that this is something that a lot of people need to realize. Is that... And this is... for those of you... Because I know we have people who are gay. I know that we have people who are bisexual and in the audience. And I want to say this. I don't hold anything against you. But you have to keep this in mind. What you do in the bedroom may not be mainstream. And if that is the case, might make people uncomfortable. You can do whatever you want, and that's generally the attitude of most Americans. But they don't really care to see it either.
Hell, I don't like any personal displays of affection, even straight couples. I don't fucking like it.
Yeah, well, I even got, because I'll admit, I am a nightmare to most girls I've ever dated because of how affectionate I can be. And my first wife actually I got in trouble because I would just randomly kiss her in public. And it would make people uncomfortable. For whatever reason, yeah,
it would have made me uncomfortable.
Well, it's not like I was, sucking face. I would just, kiss her on the lips or whatever. Just briefly. But for some reason, that sort of thing makes people uncomfortable. I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't know either. That'd be a question for Aiden. Aiden would probably know the science behind that.
Probably yes.
But it just makes people uncomfortable. And add that onto the fact that we live in a majority religious country. And a lot of people are going to look at that and they're going to go why are you trying to force this on me? And you could make the counter argument, well, if it was a straight couple, it wouldn't be considered being forced, yada, yada, yada. And you're right. Because there's no political anything when it comes to being straight. And this is the one thing that I've heard from gay friends of mine, is that they said, my sexuality has become politicized. And I was honest with a buddy of mine once. I said, you kind of let the left do it. Because you wanted them to get gay marriage legalized. So you made a deal, and it didn't pan out the way you wanted it to. And now it's not just you are gay, it is you are gay and you must vote Democrat forever. That is the pact that you make with the left.
Well, conservatives didn't help that much either.
No, because the way that conservatives tackled the situation was not smart either.
No, not in the slightest.
It was, whenever I get that book written about the broken church, one of the things that I'm going to talk about is gay marriage and government, because I still believe that it was the gay marriage debate that brought us Barack Obama, in a sense, and progressivism. And it is the failures of the right wing to debate it honestly and to have zero reluctance to use the government to push a religious idea that really fucked the right for a long time. And it basically took the Tea Party to revitalize it and turn it into something that is closer to what the Founding Fathers would have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have a feeling that will not be a popular book if it ever gets written.
Certainly controversial.
Yeah, people will be pissed at me because I will be taking aim at everyone.
That's a hard truth.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of hard truths that need to be talked about when it comes to religion. There's a like I've still got the outline. I added a chapter to it about the Catholic Church and about their reluctance to excommunicate people, and the fact that it exists these days to promote Catholicism, not to promote Christ.
Mm.
So, fuck the Pope. I'll start my own crusade. Speaking of which, Hardboiled Entertainment says, if you were to organize a political or cultural activism group, what would it look like? What issues would it center on? Well, my goal would be to, I don't know what I would call it. Maybe I would call it Deus Vult, I don't know. But my goal would be pretty simple. It would be positive activism. In the sense that it's not about protesting. It's about taking an active role in changing society. And one thing that I would focus on would be mentoring for young men who have no fathers. Father's not in the home, father's in prison. And it would basically, what I would basically try to do is create a network of men who own businesses, who teach martial arts, who are pastors, who work together to help one another across the entire country if need be. To say, okay, this young man, he's got a baby coming, he's got a girlfriend, thinks he wants to marry her, but he does not have the funds to raise this child. Who do I know that is looking for workers that this guy can do? Who works at a factory that can help this young man get a job? This guy's out of shape. He's worried about his health. Who do I know who owns a gym or does personal training or helps with dieting and things like that? Like just a big network of guys that would be devoted to a positive outlook on manliness and on masculinity, a positive outlook on fatherhood, and the willingness to take responsibility. Would it be conservative? Kind of by default. But the goal would basically be to make men again.
That sounds awfully familiar. I swear I've read something like that before.
It's what the Proud Boys should have been.
No, I swear I've edited something with those ideals in it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Inglewood.
Yeah. It's true though. I think that one of the biggest weaknesses in our society is we are very self-centered and we are very materialistic.
No arguments here.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having your own stuff. There's nothing wrong with life, liberty, and property. But I do think that the lack of community in our society today is what causes most of the problems, and the societal issues then get latched onto by like a Bernie Sanders or an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or you know, people who are basically looking to take advantage of a void that people want filled and end up fucking over entire nations. And it's because we as people would not take the time to fill the gaps. And I think that, and on top of that, you know, we just live in a society that does not really accentuate those sorts of things or glorify those sorts of things, because we give in to the third wave feminists and their complaints instead of dismissing them as crazies. and instead of giving into certain political pursuits. I think that it's ridiculous. LeBron James wants to help start a school for underprivileged young men to help them get guidance in life, and it barely gets any news coverage. But Donald Trump tweets a thing, and it's all over every network.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are materialistic, we are selfish, and we are styled towards negativity, and we refuse to change anything. And it disturbs me. So that's what I would do, is I would create a group of men that would do these things. It would basically not necessarily be a political group, but more or less almost like a Masonic sort of idea. Kind of like the Freemasons, but the difference is they would be much more active than they are. And the goal would be to promote that idea of helping people forge futures. Because the more people that can do that, the more people that are active in the market, the more people that are active physically, the more active they are mentally in life, and the harder they work and that they have purpose, the more productive the entire society gets.
As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another approach, basically.
Exactly.
I'm on board with this.
And that's what Patriot Prayer should be. That's what the Proud Boys should have been. That's what these groups should be. Don't just sit there and talk and get out your fucking banners and say, we voted for President Trump. Good for you. I did too. What else you got? Because people wonder, it's like, people will come to me with like these questions about these different groups and be like, why don't you join X or Y or Z? What are they offering? What are they offering our society aside from complaints? I've had several discussions with Max Kolbe, who was part of the Honey Badgers, and now is just kind of doing his own thing with Red Pill Religion. And he made a good point to me when I asked him what he meant by when MRAs are giving in to nihilism. And he said that they're just not doing anything. They complain all the time about issues in society, and they don't do anything about them. And they don't do anything in society itself. It's always about griping to the government. It's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe there's things that we could do to promote healthier lifestyles for men and for couples too, so that people are taking responsibility, so that people are understanding the sanctity of marriage, so that people are understanding the sanctity of parenthood and the importance of parenthood, and so on and so forth. And we don't have this society where we're willing to toss such things away willy-nilly. I've been a victim of that attitude. And I'm not a victim anymore. I'm a man who will be self-made, or I will die trying. But there's not a lot of people with that attitude. We got too many people saying victimhood is okay. What happened to me sucked, because I got into a relationship where it was a woman who had a mental illness issue. On top of that, listened to her parents on way too many things that were stupid that her parents were saying. And on top of that, had a very, very, very loose idea of how detrimental, or were very nonchalant about how devastating a divorce can be to someone. They had a very nonchalant view of marriage like that. There was no respect of sanctity of vows there. And the thing is, what it woke me up to was talking to other men who had the exact same thing happen to them. And I realized that it's not just me. That there is a systematic problem in our society that could be prevented for future generations. But nothing changes if you do not live a better life. And the goal can't be to get revenge. The goal has to be to become greater than the person who harmed you.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I think it was, oddly enough, I want to say it was Donald Trump's first wife who said sometimes the best revenge is living a better life. There's some truth there. Everybody's thinking about getting even. They're not thinking about becoming more.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't think about that, you never will be. That's what I want for the future. Is men who are willing to be more than what they are. And they're constantly determined to do that. Not just for themselves, but for their family, but for their friends, and for every person that they're going to meet in the future who might need a shoulder to lean on. That's what I do. Hatman, what do you think?
I think you just gave a sermon.
Again. Oh, God. I'm never going to escape it, am I?
Probably not, but that's not a bad thing, though.
Sermons and ponies forever. I am cursed.
Only one of those is bad, Micah. Only one of those.
Yeah. I finished all that I had to watch in like one sitting.
Oh, Christ.
There's a pony version of 1984.
It's a pony version of 1984.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
There is a point where all of the main cast are locked in a room and with a propaganda speaker in that room. And it sounds like the G-rated version of something from 1984.
Oh my God! Wait, that's not the equality one, is it?
It is the equality one.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I know the one you're talking about. Then I don't know if I would call that one a 1984 so much as I would call it Harrison Bergeron or however you pronounce.
Maybe, but it did have some like Orwell vibes to it. I'm like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm
it's
like
dystopian for sure.
Yeah, I'm like, what the
fuck
is going on?
That is the anti-Marxist episode.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so you did watch the one that everyone was saying, "Oh, you need to watch" in the comments of our review.
Yeah, and I had to comment right at the top. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah. The thing is, I actually saw that like when the episode came out because it was all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I will watch this with no knowledge of what any of these characters are or what they're doing or motives or anything like that. And yeah, that's a good way of saying Marxism is bad for children, specifically girl children.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the last question we have.
That was it. All right.
That was it. So, we are going to take off. I have no idea what we'll title this episode, but we'll get there. So, don't forget, this weekend we will be returning with the podcast. After that, I will probably disappear for a few days because my birthday is next Tuesday. And I always disappear on my birthday because I'm fucking miserable on my birthday. So, and there's not really much you could do to cheer me.
Good.
Well, I always tell people it's like there's nothing you can do to cheer me up. Don't even try. Unless,
okay.
like I always tell people, unless there is I am sitting here in my apartment and then there is a very attractive woman who knocks on the door and actually wants to spend time with me. There's nothing you can do to cheer me up. I am always Grumps McGirt on my birthday.
Fair enough.
So, sorry. But if you want to say happy birthday when it comes around, I'm not going to tell you not to. Just don't be surprised if it's like, oh, thank you. And then I just kind of walk away with a giant rain cloud just hovering over my head, reminding me of the fact that I'm getting older. All right, but we're going to go ahead and take off. We'll be back with the podcast and other fun stuff in the future. But until that point in time, my name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as the Hatman.
See you guys next week. Deus Volt.
Deus Volt.